I'm not doing that, and you better not do that back to me. I can't take it, like whatever. And while I totally get where she's coming from, like she just craves input from her friends and everything, I don't think that's wrong at all.
Anyway, so I was like, why don't we each make one diet goal, one exercise goal, and one personal or spiritual goal that we're gonna do for the month.
I love how she's so vulnerable and tells the whole internet that she's on Instagram for an hour a day. I love that, Jayna, because some people are sitting there.
A whole lot more.
Some people are sitting there judging you, and it's like,
I don't care.
Have you set a timer on your phone? I
go
bet
look
you
at your stats. Sometimes it's fun to go out as couples, because I just feel like that's a whole different level of friendship. Like couple friends, it's so fun.
It's so fun I always look at my husband differently when we're on like double dates versus just a single, like us on a date. Like I feel like me and Josh on a date is like serious time.
Yes.
And then me and Josh on a double date.
We have not had light in how many days?
Oh my goodness, it's terrible. I know, 3 days of darkness. This feels like, I mean, we're on day 9 of no sun.
I saw a tiny bit of blue sky today with some light shining through, and I was like, oh, that's what that looks like. A little bit.
I walked outside and I'm like, am I imagining? Am I squinting?
Yeah.
But it's still cloudy, and tomorrow's going to be cloudy yet. But I think on Thursday, after 11 days, we'll have a day of sunshine.
I love rainy days. Like, I'd thrive on moody, rainy weather.
One day a week.
This is enough. Like, I'm ready for the sun.
Listen to us as we sit in our nice, warm, dry homes complaining about the weather.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. The news has just been rolling in. I know just full disclosure here, we film our podcasts 2 at a time at the end of each month. And so you're going to see this one a whole month later. So we're definitely not a current events podcast by any means.
No, by any means.
But I will tell you this. All the ramifications of Hurricane Helene are not over with, even if you've forgotten about it a month later.
Yeah.
Let this be your reminder. If you have not done something to help, maybe now could be your nudge.
Horrific devastation, and my heart goes out to all of the people that are facing that. Maybe some of you live in those areas or near those areas. We're praying for you, and we're thinking about you.
Yeah, it's not like we want this episode to be a downer, but at the same time, we do have a voice, and just this is a reminder. It's been like a month now. Let's remember to continue praying for the workers. My husband has helped out with disaster relief work here and there. This is sadly not the time for it to happen with him having 4 kids at home, and his wrist is injured at the moment. But
I would say if you feel led to donate or feel led to help, first look locally. Like, is there someone that you know personally that is going down? Maybe help in some way, contribute financially, or support them and their efforts. I would say, like, look the closest to you first. Who can you support that's hands-on helping? And then if there's no one, if you don't find yourself in that situation, I'm just going to recommend 2 organizations from our community. One is MDS, and I looked up their website today. MDS stands for Mennonite Disaster Service. So I looked up their website today. They're already there, just days after the hurricane. They're there, they're present, they're helping hands-on in the flood areas. So you can donate financially, you can sign up to be a volunteer to help. Another one is Plain Compassion, and I don't know a whole lot about what they're doing, but it's another good resource to look into donating to. I'm not telling you where to send your money. You do your research for yourself, but those are 2 I donated to MDS this afternoon. So MDS is one that I feel confident in supporting. They're doing actual hands-on work. So look into it, get involved, and help in some way if you can.
Yeah, it's a tough time, I think, for a lot of people right now. And, it just breaks my heart so much, especially when it's so close to home. And, yeah, wow. Hopefully, if you're in, like, the Asheville area or one of those areas, that you can see some beauty in today, a month later, whatever you're doing today. I pray that something, feel like a little smile from God, and we're thinking of you. But we don't want this episode to be, like, a crazy downer. We want this to be kind of like an escape from your normal life. We're just girls chatting here, and you guys can listen in. I don't know what you're doing. Let us know down below. What do you do while you listen to podcasts? I'd love to hear.
Fold laundry.
Fold laundry. Okay. Yeah.
Cook.
Yeah. I'm usually in my kitchen when I'm listening to a podcast. I would say driving, but so much of the time the kids have 101 questions. So
yeah, I do it while driving quite a bit because my kids aren't often with me.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great time to listen to podcasts too. But this rain, oh my goodness.
Is it raining again?
No, but I'm just like so sick of it. It actually did not hit my mood till day 8, and I was just like so down on day 8. I don't know if it's like my hormones too, or it was just I could hardly go on. I was like, this is awful.
There was a little girl in kindergarten that was having a hard time controlling her emotions for no apparent reason. Everything was fine. She was just like kind of teary and looked like she was on the verge of tears. And I was telling Eric about it, and he's like, it's probably because of all the rain. I'm like, you know what? It could be.
You know what? I feel like it doesn't affect Josh, but it sure affects me.
It usually doesn't, but when it gets to this point, it's like, yeah, it would be nice to see some sun.
Yeah, I don't know how. I always thought, oh my goodness, I would be so glad to be Noah on the ark, but it had to be a special kind of horribleness to see like rain for 40 days and 40 nights. Like,
Yeah.
that's hard.
Yeah.
Speaking of the ark, I don't know. I don't know if I ever shared this story, but Josh has done construction his entire life. Now he has his own business. But 7 years ago, this past summer, it was in 2016, Josh quit his job. He quit cold turkey, and he bought a trailer and loaded it up with tools, bought tools and stuff. And that same exact week, he got a call from the general manager of the Ark Encounter in Kentucky, and they asked him to come down and help finish the ark. They were running on a time crunch because the investors and like Ken Ham and everybody who's involved with that wanted to open on July 7th, 7/7, because in Genesis 7:7, I think that's where it says the doors of the ark were opened. And so he wanted to open on that day no matter what. And they did. It wasn't all done completely, but they really wanted to be open that day. And so they were just trying to find all different people to come, all hands on deck, literally on deck. Josh and I were on the second floor, on the second deck. I went down with him, and I was just going to go down. Just it was kind of going to be an adventure. And long story short, we went down there and worked for 2 weeks, and he paid off the start of his business. He paid off his trailer and his tools and stuff. But we got down there, and they're like, "Are you here to help?" And I was like, "What can I do?" Oh my goodness. Okay, sure. I became Josh's, like, he was the foreman and I was the first mate, I guess. We're on a boat, right? We'll go with the first mate. And I learned to like chop wood, and I would go up to the top floor and get timbers and bring them down to the floor too. If you've ever been to the Ark Encounter, it's really huge. It's life size of how the ark would have been. And I was doing all kinds of manual labor. I learned how to read a tape measure correctly and like all this stuff. There was other Mennonites there, Amish. There was Amish crews there, and the thing that kept the fire under my butt was that all these Amish ladies were going around with their shop vacuuming up all the sawdust and stuff. And I thought that looked like a special kind of punishment. And I was like, I would much rather be doing trim work. You know, I'd go over to my corner, measure this piece, go back to the saw, chop it, go back, trim nail it in, boom, boom, boom. Way more fun than having to do the shop vac and stuff. It was really fun. There was youth groups that were there at the Ark Encounter. It looked pretty bad. There was all these teenagers sitting around just untangling wires from the big chandeliers that hang from the ceiling. They were just like pulling wire and trying to untangle it from the box and stuff like that. And then the electricians would come and set it up the next day. And it was like this big factory of people just working every day. It was really, really neat. Opening day, we moved out of the Ark and we went over to, there's a restaurant there connected with the Ark Encounter, and I was over there helping do trim work over there. And I was you kept your saws out on the porch, and it was opening day. You could hear well, first of all, it was hard to get in because they had everything roped off, the cops and everything. They let the media in. I could hear Ken Ham speaking as I was like cutting my wood and stuff. It was just a crazy experience. There was the media there, and then Josh needed his lunch heated up. I forget what it was it was a sub that he thought needed to be heated up from like Subway or something. So where was our microwave? On the 4th floor of the Ark. So I went in and went up flights and flights of steps, went up to find the little microwave over in the corner to heat his food up. And literally down below, there was like a hole, like a hatch to the down below. And there was TV guys set up everywhere. And I was like up above looking down because I needed a cord to plug in this microwave. And the cord was dangling down the hole into the TV scene. So I just started...
I hope it wasn't attached.
Hand over fist pulling this orange extension cord up so I could plug in the microwave. I'm just like, is anybody going to notice this cord just going up?
That's funny.
I have a lot of different stories for that, but it was quite crazy. Yeah. There was Jimmy Carter was there, I believe. There was several very famous people. And I was there with my orange construction vest and my hard hat on. We were cranking away at the restaurant the day that it opened. But yeah, they made it happen somehow, and it was fun to be a part of. Now I want to take my kids back to the Ark Encounter and experience it. A lot of people ask me who would enjoy the Ark Encounter. I would say older kids, like 8 at the youngest, maybe. I know people that take their toddlers in and stuff. There's a zoo there and a zip line now and a lot of different things like that. But it's a lot of reading, really fascinating stuff.
Someday I want to go.
So glad anyway. Should we do our gift of gab?
Yeah. So this is not, I don't know if this is a good conversation starter or not, but it's something that I need to know. How do you picture the months of the year? So for example, I picture them in a circle. Like December and January are at the top, and then it goes December, January, February, March, April, May. June is at the bottom, lined up with December, right?
Okay, like at 6 o'clock.
Yeah. And then the fall months, and it's just like a clock, like it goes around.
Oh.
Some people see them in like lists. I never really thought about it that I see them in a circle until someone, I think I saw like an Instagram reel or something. How do you see the months of the year? I'm like, well, a circle. Like, how else would you think about it? But some people see it in like lists. And then I think some people see it like a big calendar spread, like the months in like blocks. But a circle makes the most sense. Like, surely that's how you think of it?
Definitely not.
No, really?
Anything but the circle.
Are you serious?
I think I see it. I was going to say, I think I see it in a list, like check it off, check it off, check it off. And then you go back up to the top and start over. But maybe it's more like the calendar, like all 365 days at once, and you just go down through. But definitely
no, like
not
I
a circle.
definitely see like, are you in the first quarter or the second quarter?
Oh, I
and
never
like
view it like that.
Yeah. I thought that's how
Interesting.
everyone
I would be
did.
like the first quarter is the first four, the first row, and then, or
That
something.
is so weird. I don't know. I just think it's fascinating how you have a picture of something in your mind. Like when you think about something, your mind often creates a picture, and you assume that everyone else has the same picture in their mind, but that's not always true.
Oh, that's funny. So how do you see the days of the week? I heard some people see them in different, like, which days are the even days of the week and which days are the odd days of the week.
Oh, even days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
No, even days would be Tuesday and Thursday.
No.
Tuesday too.
No, Tuesday and Thursday are definitely odd days.
Those are really even days.
No, because
Friday first. It sounds like that's got to be one.
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Or odd.
Even.
And like Sunday's just like the free day. It's like the blank space. It doesn't get the numbers in my head.
Why do I think they're even? Because if Monday comes first, it would be one.
I think Monday, Wednesday, Friday are odds. Yeah, in my brain.
Yeah, no. That's crazy. Well, I'm glad we brought that up.
Anyway.
I'm glad we had this chat.
What does that tell us about ourselves? I'm sure it means something about our childhood.
The next thing there's going to be like a personality chart determined by how you see the months of the year.
Yeah. Wow. Anyway, we did bring you guys here today for some more uplifting conversation than all that. But hey, that's what friendship's for. The big things in life and the little things. That's what our topic is today, actually. Wondering if your child's music lessons are really worth all the money, hassle, and reminders to practice? The VOETBERG method is a proven structure for learning music that eliminates all the stress from you as the parent. Use my code HOMEMAKER20 to get 20% off of each month you are enrolled.
Instead of learning in isolation, your children learn in community with each other. No more paying hundreds of dollars for individual lessons. Your whole family can learn piano, guitar, mandolin, violin, or ukulele for less than $30 a month.
They also learn from and with thousands of like-minded Christian families in the VOETBERG Music Academy studio. Instead of dry theory sheets, VOETBERG Music Academy makes music come alive with song-based lessons showing how the science of music applies in the context of playing.
Instead of having to be told to practice, students stay motivated on their own with the VOETBERG Method's rank system, where they work to earn badges and rank pins mailed to their door. With quarterly challenges, optional weekly live calls, and 24 access to your instructor, students learn rapidly, at their own pace, and in a way they will never forget.
Yes, even if you join VOETBERG Music Academy for 1 month, your child will still be able to pick up and play what they learn years later.
Use our code HOMEMAKER20 to get 20% off and start learning music in an effective way that works for the whole family.
Real life circumstances have dictated what we decided to talk about this week. I know we've addressed friendship often before, but it's a big topic, and it's hard to I feel like I'm so torn in this stage of life because when I'm pouring into my friends, that takes time. That's time away from my family.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I'm like, okay, I'm going to pick family. I have a friend who really does good at picking her family first. She says no to a lot of optional girls things and stuff, and she's saying yes to her family. But then, friendships suffer if you're not in personal contact. WhatsApp and Snapchat and Marco Polo and email threads or whatever. Who's emailing their friends? I don't know.
Get new friends.
I don't know what kind of friendship that is. That just can't take the place of real in life personal contact. So I just caught in that phase right now of life of just not enough time to go around and how to prioritize friendships. But you need your friends to survive. Your husband can't understand everything. Your mom can't get it all. She went through all the same things just in a totally different decade, and it's hard for her to relate on some things too.
Yeah.
So you need peers,
It's a balancing act for sure, and at this time of our life, our family needs to come first because physically they need us. You more so than me. But we want to maintain relationships with our friends because when your kids all go to school or when they're all married or out of the house and you're empty nesters, you're going to want your friends again. So you can't just write it off and be like, I don't need friends. I got kids, man. You need your friends. So you have to figure it out. How are you going to balance it? How are you going to juggle it? And
Mennonites do community really well. It's like not optional. Like people don't sit around at home. And I have friends that I know of that invite certain people around just because they know that other people don't have friends and they feel bad for them. And they're like, we're going to make sure that they have something on their calendar because we know they'll appreciate it. And like people look out for each other. And I'm not saying it's a perfect system at all. No. I know there's lonely Mennonites out there too. But sometimes I feel like we choose to be lonely because we don't choose to be vulnerable. And it's hard to be vulnerable with somebody you know casually. You know, it takes the deep friendships and it takes time and investing and years of doing life together sometimes. Yeah. It's daunting to think about making new friends, like at this stage of my life. Like I'm just trying to hang on to the friendships I have and to dig into those. But it is really sad, the statistics of the growing epidemic of loneliness. And this time of year is so awful every year. Like every 4 years, I feel like it's just so weighty and like people tiptoeing around things, and not as much in the Mennonite circles. If you listen to our last podcast, we talked about whether Mennonites do or don't vote. I think it's a very private, like we're not talking about politics sitting around in circles among our friends too much. Maybe the guys do. Yeah,
the guys definitely do more.
But yeah, I don't know. I just know of friends that, you know, aren't friends now anymore because of the election coming up and stuff like that. It's just, wow.
It's heartbreaking.
Anyway, we definitely need friends. We need to prioritize it, but there's also some things to navigate and weed through as well. So we thought we'd talk about that today. Jayna is going to open it up with a little personal life story, and I don't know anything. All I know is the headline, so I'm dying to hear the rest of the article.
Okay. So if you've been listening to our podcast for a while, you know, like, I am not a goals girl. Like, it's not something I usually sign up for.
She snarks on me for all my lists.
Yeah.
Like, why write the list? Just go do the thing, and then you don't have to write the list.
Exactly. But my one friend in one of my friend groups that I'm a part of, probably my nearest and dearest friends, I would say, she's like, hey, should we make some goals for October and do like a little challenge amongst the 5 of us and kind of keep each other accountable?
And so to know who it was, because I can't even tell. Like, it wasn't you.
Anyway, the other girls aren't really, this is out of their comfort zone too. Most of them, especially one of them. The others may have dabbled before.
Have you ever dabbled?
Yeah, I've done like step bet and things like that.
Okay.
So I have,
like athletic challenges and stuff.
So I was like, well, why don't we do each make our own goals? That way, like, everyone's goals are different, or like their visions are different, what they want for themselves, or, you know, your current standard of life is different too. So what is easy for me would be hard for someone else, or what's hard for someone else, that's the same thing. What's hard for me is easy for someone else. Anyway, so I was like, why don't we each make one diet goal, one exercise goal, and one personal or spiritual goal that we're gonna do for the month. I was like, this is just for 1 month, right? 1 month. So everyone could kind of choose their own roles.
So Jayna put aside her Jayna-ness for 1 month.
Yeah, I was like, sure, if this is what you want to do, I'll do it. And I think it will be fun. And I was actually thinking that it would be really good for me too. So I'll share my goals. You can ask me at the end of the month how I did. But my exercise goal is I want to get...
Well, hang on. Where were you when you were having this conversation?
WhatsApp.
Oh, this is all through WhatsApp. So you weren't even together in person.
No.
How does this group of friends meet in person?
All of us except one went to kindergarten or first grade together. The one girl went to our rival school, and her husband actually went to our school. So we've been friends for, you know, little and up. Most of us went to the same high school. The thing we all have in common now is our kids all go to the same school.
So it used to be like a play date group.
It used to be our play date group, and then we all ended up sending our kids to the same school, so we have that in common. Some of them go to the same church, but we have a variety of churches represented.
I just love how it's like actionable steps, and you have other people doing it too that can like sign up as a cheerleader. Like, that's neat.
Yeah, this friend that initiated it, she is so determined and consistent and dedicated to like health and wellness and like just taking care of herself and doing the best she can. And I'm really proud of her for that. And so if I can, you know, come alongside her in that, and if we can, you know, encourage each other to live a tiny bit more healthy and get moving and just be a better person, really.
Yeah. Well, life is ebbs and flows, but sometimes you don't get the flows part if you're not making effort.
Yeah. And also, like, sometimes as a busy mom, it's like easy to just not have anything necessarily to work for, a goal to, it's just good. Like, even if the goals, which they're not pointless, but even if they were, like, it's still, and it builds community too. Like, we'll be chatting about it and whatever. So my goals are, my exercise one is I want to get 10,000 steps 5 times a week, which is a pretty big goal for me.
Okay. Do you want to share how many steps you've been getting a day typically before this?
Um,
You have a Fitbit.
yeah.
I'm wearing a Fitbit. I always
5 to 8, I would say, is my average, but like often 5 to 6. I felt like I would get a lot of steps at school, but I don't. Like, I come home from school with like 2,000 to 3,000. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I felt like I put in a day's work, but I'm often sitting with the kids, or I'm standing, or I'm walking slowly back and forth behind their desk. I'm not like, so today I was like, I want to get 5,000 steps by the time I come home from school. So I did a lot of work, like intentional pacing in the kitchen before I left. And then during the day, if I had like a minute or two, I'd be like, I'm just going to go to the bathroom at the other end of the school. If I had a gap between my classes.
Like, why is Jayna's lunch break a little extra long?
I was supervising a like reading centers where I wasn't hands-on with the students. They were doing their own thing. And I was like, just don't mind me. I'm going to be pacing. So I would like walk back and forth between their desks and stuff. And I hope I wasn't disrupting them, but I don't think I was.
So you still have some leeway, but as a whole, on a general day, you got to get 10,000 in because you only got 2.
Yeah. So like today I knew I was going to be sitting all evening, so I needed to have my steps pretty much done, and I'm at 10,000.
Yeah.
So I did it today.
That's funny because lately my Fitbit will start vibrating as I'm getting the kids ready for bed, and I'll have hit my 10,000 steps right around then, which is so weird. It's just like that's my normal everyday life.
Yeah.
Like I do a little bit of shopping. I often go on a walk. My house is big. I don't sit. Well, I do sit at nap time, but yeah. Anyway, I've naturally been getting 10,000 steps lately, and I would say that's not totally normal before. So anyway, that's just good. Interesting.
And then my diet goal is.
I'm dying to hear this one.
Yeah, I know. Like I struggle with this one because
this is the chips and dip queen. That's your favorite, right?
Restricted eating just never.
It doesn't
goes
work for me.
Very well for me. The more I think about it, the more I want to eat, and then like if I deny myself, I'll end up gorging on something else. It's just I struggle with. Yeah, if I put restrictions on myself, I often end up doing worse. My biggest thing is limiting carbs because I think just based on some health issues that I've had in the past, that's what's really important for me is to limit carbs. But I did not feel like counting anything or tracking anything. So what I chose is I'm not allowed to have seconds at meals. Like I need to fill my plate with what not take a little bit to try to be, eat less and then end up. Okay, so I fill my plate with what I think is a reasonable amount for an adult of my size to eat, and then that's it. And, Jayna, it counts if you are picking off the kid's plate as you clear the dishes or eating straight out of the pot as you pack the leftovers. No. Okay? So that's
but you still need to taste test as you're cooking it because you don't follow a recipe and you got to make sure it doesn't.
Oh, yeah, well, there's nothing about before dinner.
Okay. Just
no, but honestly, like if I feel like maybe
pre-dinner doesn't count.
Maybe if I need a snack before dinner so that I'm not so ravenous, like that's allowed. And I think I did say I can eat as many vegetables as I want. So if I want,
if I'm seconds of vegetables.
Yeah, I don't want to deprive myself of calories because whatever.
It'll make you hangry and your whole family will suffer.
Exactly.
Yeah, I gained 2 pounds on Lent the one year, which we're Mennonites, we're not Catholics. So it's like Lent it's not a bad thing, but it's not like our church preaches on doing Lent. But I think it's a good practice if you want to deprive yourself of something for a month to make you, think about God's kingdom more and stuff, whatever. But yeah, me and my friend, we were like, no chips, no ice cream, no, like it was all those like junky things, like specific stuff. And I gained 2 pounds because I couldn't have it. I couldn't have chocolate. I couldn't have ice cream. But I was craving something. And so I would just keep eating stuff. If I had just ate like 3 Hershey Kisses or something, boom, I would have been done and the craving would have been gone. But
I find myself doing a lot of mindless eating, like as I'm cleaning up dinner or just like I'm sitting there. So I just keep a little bit more. And like, I don't need that. So that's what I'm going to try to do. We'll see how it goes. And then mine is more like personal, not spiritual, but definitely plays in, is I set my Instagram timer.
I don't even know how to do that.
50 minutes. And then my rule is 1 hour per day. So I set it for 50 minutes and then it will pop up, add 10 minutes. So I can add 10 minutes and I'm still only at an hour. But see, then I just go over to Facebook. So I probably need to set a timer on that too.
Were you going on Facebook before this challenge at all?
Yeah, some.
You were. Okay, so it's something you do. I thought maybe you're just like using it as like a fix.
Facebook has all the reels and stuff too, and that's where I kill time is like, and it's not all like mindless because ever since I started working at school and doing Haggerty, did I tell you I do Haggerty with my kids? You do
Haggerty?
Yeah, with my first graders.
Hates Haggerty.
Oh, my kids seem to like it. Anyway, so since I've been doing that, which I don't even have my phone with me when I do that, but like things have been popping up, and it's like very helpful ideas and tips and stuff. It's not like all just. So I don't know. I feel like I am learning. But anyway, so 1 hour of Instagram per day. Every day.
I love how she's so vulnerable and tells the whole internet that she's on Instagram for an hour a day. I love that, Jayna, because some people are sitting there.
A whole lot more.
Some people are sitting there judging you, and it's like,
I don't care.
Have you set a timer on your phone?
Go look at your stats.
Yeah,
My
it's probably
friend's
appalling for.
Some of us. There was some other ones that had similar goals regarding social media, and my one friend was like, I went and checked my timer because I was like, what are you guys doing on Instagram? She's like, mine's like 30 minutes. Like, I don't know what you're doing on Instagram. I was like, you just don't follow the right people. Anyway, I didn't say that. For her, it's not an issue, but for me, I can spend a lot of time, and she has lots of little kids, so she just simply doesn't have the time to be sitting on her phone. But yeah, it's definitely something that I'm trying to do better at always, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and like there's certain periods of your life where you probably did better or worse, you know,
right.
Kind of ebbs and flows a little bit.
I actually feel like as a whole, I am on my phone a lot less now than I used to be, because there's whole chunks of a day where I'm checking it every now and then. Like, I'm not on Instagram at all from 8 to 1:30. So
because she's at school.
But I was like, well, yeah, while we're cutting back, might as well even cut back even more. So
well, good for you.
Yeah.
Do you want to share any other goals of anybody else in your group without names or maybe numbers, leaving it like just some ideas in case somebody wants to start something with their friends? Like, what are some of the topics?
I can look it
up.
Well, like I said, some had to do with social media. A lot of them were limiting desserts, like dessert a certain amount of time. Some of them were like in regards to watching things, like in certain portions of their day, they were going to do something else besides watching a show.
I think for me, a good one would be to like say at least 5 days a week, I'm not going to eat after 6:30.
Yeah.
Because I get the munchies in the evenings.
One of them was going to like go on a walk a certain amount of days per week. One of them was going to have a certain time set of dedicated intentional prayer, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Prayer is not as easy as you think
sometimes. Then I was like, maybe I should have had something. Maybe next month I'll have something like that, because that's really good.
Yeah.
Something I definitely can grow in. Anyway, so we made our goals, and we decided if we mess up, we have to pay $1 to the pot. And then whoever did the best, which I'm not quite sure how we're going to determine that. Hopefully there's a clear leader. Maybe we'll have to use the process of the lot.
If you didn't listen to our last episode,
or
refer
discernment.
to that.
Anyway, so then the person gets all that money. But I was also like, we should probably like have a girls' night after this to celebrate. So
yeah. That'll be
I think
part of the tip. Or
we're not going to take it too seriously, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, take it seriously, but it's also it's going to be fun too, I think.
You're gamifying your goals. It's great.
Yeah.
I love that. We have all of November yet before it gets really cold for a lot of our areas. One year, this was a goal of mine, was to visit, I forget, I had a certain number. Was it 10 or 15 different parks in the month of, like, before, I think it was before Thanksgiving or something like that. I don't know. Or I think it may have been 15 parks in the fall season, like all of fall, and just to try different parks. And I still look back, I found some parks that I never would have found before because I had to find different ones and I didn't want to drive super far all the time. And it was just a great way to get outdoors. I know some people do like the 1,000 hours challenge in a year, but I love the whole month concept, just for a month. And I often practice that in my own life just by myself. Like, okay, the first of every month is like a new month. It's just nice to have a fresh start.
Yeah, I definitely don't. Start? One other thing I just thought of right now is, so I'm trying to walk more again. I consistently take walks. It's not new for me to, I go on walks very often. I always have. But I started a new route. I just like went the opposite direction. Actually, Eric kind of helped. He went with me the first time. But it's a road I never walked on, and it has like this really big steep hill that I can barely make it up, but it's such a good workout. Yeah. How did I live here 6 years and like never walk on this road that's like really close to my house? And it's actually arguably safer to get to this back street than it is to get to the other development. So I'm like, why have I only now discovered this alternative rock? And it just like takes my walk, like, you get bored of seeing the same thing. It's just like a whole new thing, and all I have to do is walk out the other way.
Yeah, it's actually a good safety tip to not walk the same path all the time.
Yeah, well, I never go at the set time, so I don't really, but it has been like a game changer for me. So
yeah, I love that little tip. I'm all about the little life tips.
Yeah.
How honest should we or can we be with our friends? I've heard 2 different people now. John Deloney was one of them, but he was saying how we need to have friends who are willing to call us out on our, I think he said BS or something, whatever, willing to call us out when we're out of line. And I have a friend who literally begs. She's like, please, I'm going to sit right here right now, and you guys all tell me something that I can work on. And I'm like, girl, I'm not doing that. and you better not do that back to me. I can't take it, like whatever. And while I totally get where she's coming from, like she just craves input from her friends and everything. I don't think that's wrong at all. But it made me think, like, wow, that's something that I'm not very good at, calling things out of my friends. Like, well, I don't know. What would you say? Like, you could be...
Your skirts are a little short.
I was thinking you could be more patient with your kids, or I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, like, but
or, like, you've been really spending money a lot on Instagram. I see you on Instagram. You're doing, like, a new haul every day. You should really stop spending so much money. Or, like, wow, that just makes my skin crawl thinking to be on either end of that. Like, yeah. But the Bible is very, like... particularly, like, I mean, that's really important. If who's gonna, we're supposed to work together to call ourselves to a higher, like, if we don't have our friends that have our backs, our spiritual backs, who's gonna have our back? Like, I feel like the negativity, there's like two people that can tell me negative things in my life, like on a consistent basis, and that's my husband and then occasionally my mom. Mm-hmm. And it still stings either way. From my husband less so, I guess, because like he's always right usually, and for my mom it's like she's right too, but it's like, oh dear, I thought I grew up more than that now, or like whatever. But yeah, I'm trying to imagine having all 12 of my friends telling me things I need to work on, like, oh dear.
Yeah, like my sisters would call each other out like passive aggressively though, so I don't know.
But is it about like real things, or is it more like
yeah, I mean, like oftentimes it's like
sketch
yeah, like we're joking, but you
have a point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
or like you haven't been at church for like how many weeks in a row? Like, you know what I mean?
That's
like
sisters. Yeah. I'm just like thinking my friends, like our atmosphere of friends is not really like that.
Like offering advice, I feel like is different than saying you're doing this, don't do, like you shouldn't do that, or think about doing that, or not doing that. I don't know. Like, but if like they ask,
friends, we don't sit around and talk about how horrible. Okay, so this story happened, and our husband did this, and oh my word, like this was terrible. You know, then in that case, I would be like, try to give them some constructive advice. Like, well, maybe you could do this. Like, I wouldn't say, wow, just respect your husband in that area. I wouldn't just like tell him how it is. Yeah. I would more quicker like try to help solve the problem, or have you thought about doing this, or like beat around the bush or something. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I guess maybe my friend, like, I can't think of anything that I would want to call them out for. Like, I feel like they're perfect. So
there you go. Exactly. I know. It's like, so you want me to sit? That's what my friend said that. I was like, wait, so you want us to sit here and try to think of negative things about you? Like, if I had something that I thought was a real burden on my heart, and I felt like the Lord was prompting me to tell a really close friend or encourage her in a certain area or something, I would have to do it. You'd have to be obedient and do that. But yeah, I'm just like, well, that's a whole different level of friendship. Maybe I don't really have true friends if we can't do that to each other. I'm like, ooh, it's so uncomfortable thinking.
I feel like most, no one's perfect, obviously, but I feel like most of the character flaws or someone's weak point, they already know what I would know. Like, maybe their husband has more in-depth view of their whole character as a whole, but like the things that I would know about them, like they would probably already recognize that as a weakness in there,
and they're probably already working
and we probably already talked about it, like
I struggle with this,
and so I know that person knows that she has that, you know, weak point or thing that she struggles with. So I don't know, it's not,
to me I almost feel like it needs to be more of like a mentor, like big sister little sister conversation, or like an older woman coming to a young, you know what I mean? It feels something queasy is about like just going straight to your peers, and it almost seems like it should be somebody who's been there, done that, solved that problem. Like,
I mean, I guess if I saw a friend making a really sinful, you know, like going off a path that I never, you know, like that I can't support, or like something that's clear cut, this is wrong. I've not been in that situation, but if that would come about, then yeah, I feel like it would be on me to be like, this is a warning. Like, I see you doing this. Like,
I don't think as friends it should be get your act together. It should be, how can I help you get your act together? Like, come alongside you, help you, maybe be accountable for you, or, you know, I noticed you've been really negative lately. Have you been on Reddit again?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to call you next week and ask you if you've been on Reddit. You know, I'm just being really crazy here. But, like, thinking of, like, it should not be get your act together, girl. It should be, how can I come alongside you? I would,
for sure.
Yeah, but that is a true, like, it's a good thought. Where are your friendships at? And it does take a lot of time and doing life together to get to a point like that.
Yeah. I guess one way to think about it is if, like, think about some choices that you could make that would be going down the wrong path. could you count on your friends to call you out and to be like, hey, what's up? Like, why are you doing that?
You know what I'm going to do?
I think I could.
I kind of want to test them now.
I've always thought about doing this.
We're driving to Indiana to see my one friend. I kind of want to, while we're driving there, be like, tell this big long story about Josh did this and then I did this and see how long.
I mean, I'm thinking about not coming back from this trip.
Oh my goodness.
No, they wouldn't.
It had to be a little more believable than that.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to think and see if they would call me out. Like,
so
I couldn't keep a straight face.
Thought about like showing up to an event with certain people or like even family, like just dressed completely different, like a wig or fake earrings or like whatever, and just see. Not my family, because they would be like, dude, what's up? But like someone that I'm a little less comfortable with, and like, what would they say? My family.
I showed up at Corn Day the other week. I had a little headband. In our area, like Mennonites cover their head pretty traditionally. Like we're not just wearing randoms. My church, yes, they are wearing random things on their heads, like bandanas, scarves, black, white, whatever. It varies a lot more than like at your church. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I had put like a little headband scarf thing on my head and a veil, I thought. I got there and all I had on was the headband, and I was there for like 2 seconds, and my one friend's like, did you forget to finish combing your hair? I mean, my sister-in-law. And I was like, wow, she called me out right like that. So yeah. I know if I would ever decide I don't want to apply the head covering anymore, they would come and ask right away, so what's up with that?
Yeah, but like, what if you showed up and like cut hair where it was clear that you didn't forget, you made a choice? Like, would they call you out?
100%. Okay. Right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but she knew you forgot.
No.
Okay.
Because my other sister was like, oh, I thought maybe you were just covering your hair like that today.
Oh, okay.
Which is, I mean.
Oh, my word. I worked at a bank, right?
Oh, yes. You were a bank teller for 5 years.
So this is a very, like, public-facing. Mennonites were in and out there as customers. And none of my coworkers were Mennonite, but, like, they knew I wore my covering every day. Well, I showed up one day without my covering. And they let me set up my whole. They said nothing. Nothing.
You had your hair in, like, a bun.
Yeah. Yeah, they said nothing. And I don't remember if someone finally, like, I had my drawer out. I would have been in the vault, got my drawer, was all set up, probably logged into my computer, was checking my emails. I don't remember exactly. And then either I noticed or someone said something. And then, like, we just thought you decided not to wear it today. And I was like, guys, I have to go home now.
Oh, you guys don't understand. Like, when you grow up covering your head, you feel kind of naked.
Yeah,
ways, which is not even biblical, guys.
No,
like,
it would have been fine. But, like, I'm sorry. I can't sit here all day like this.
You felt like you were naked. Yeah.
So I went home and, like, from then after that, like, I stashed a veil or something in my car so, like, I would have backup. But, yeah, it's, like, I didn't go home for a spiritual, biblical reason, but like just for my own personal discomfort and to avoid anyone asking any questions. I was like, no, I just forgot. But yeah, that's a funny story about
we digress.
Yeah. Anyway,
does any of this deserve to take up space on the internet? I'm not sure, but we're girls, we gab, and you guys are just along for the wild ride.
Yeah.
We do have one more point I wanted to talk about, and that is friendships, like our husbands and their friendships. I feel like girls can do better with friendships than males can. At least in our circles, I feel like a lot of men, there's less time maybe in their less discretionary time during their day. They're at work most of the day, or I know Eric does pretty good with his friends.
I was going to say,
he has lots of guy time.
He does just fine. He needs no more
but
guy time.
You would think that this would never happen in Mennonite circles, but a couple years ago, I think there was, I don't know how much words I can say on YouTube and still have this monetized and everything, but there was 3 different Mennonite men who tried to unalive themselves.
Severe mental health crisis.
3 in like a year's time or half a year's time. And it was not anybody I knew super personally or anything, but like it impacted the community in so many ways. I don't really want to get into all of that too much, but Josh and I had some conversations over that time, and he's like, oh my goodness, how could I would hate to be one of those guys' friends right now. He's like, I just cannot imagine if one of my friends was at that point. You know, maybe they weren't successful, but they still try, or just to know that your friend was at such a dark place and you didn't know about it. He's like, what can I do? Like, I surely hope that people know they can come to me if they feel like they're at the end or they have nowhere to turn. And he was just really challenged with, wow, so many of his friendships he felt like have just stayed on a superficial level for like 10 years. Mm-hmm. You know, they haven't really progressed into serious things of life, or, you know, not necessarily always have to talk about serious stuff, but just that your friends know that you're a safe person to come to, or you can kind of wrestle things, you know, you're going through it too. You can kind of wrestle it through together.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what the answer is to help your husband foster good friendships. But I guess one thing is to not whine and complain when they leave you for an evening to go golfing with their buddies or like, I don't know.
Eric he's a part of a accountability group from our church. So it's all men from our church, and they meet once a month and they get together. And I don't know what they talk about because it's like top secret. I'm not allowed to know what they talk about. And so that just makes me want to know, but he's very tight-lipped about it. But he really appreciates it, and they all take time out of their busy schedules to get together, and they call each other about unknown things, and they just really like support each other, and on a more like spiritual deep level than he probably has with his golfing buddies. But I feel like his golfing buddies, they're always there for him, and just like, I don't know, there is a sense of camaraderie. Is that how you say that?
Camaraderie.
Yes, that's really important too. And he also has a peer group, I guess you would call it, like businessmen that meet together, and that's more on the business side of things, like professional, how they encourage and advise each other in that setting. And then he has a group of friends that are in various businesses that they get together, and I don't know what they do, but
I think the way men are wired, it's just easier for them to sometimes go home and veg out and like feel like they're getting the camaraderie through watching sports or video gaming or whatever. And so there's not really anything we can do as wives, but you can, encourage them to, they should have some friends. Yeah.
Eric is very social. So and for him, it works best if it's like scheduled, like, they know they're doing it every month. They schedule it, and it happens.
Oh yeah, guys planning anything is a disaster.
Yeah,
so that's probably good. It's on autopilot.
So, a lot of these things have been going on for quite a while, and they've been a consistent blessing in his life. So good for him. I mean,
so setting up a system.
Yeah, for him that was really helpful.
And then not complaining when your husband's gone, or like early morning breakfasts and stuff are nice.
Yeah, those are the best, right?
Yeah, especially when you're a mom with lots of little kids. It's like, oh, you just can't wait for your husband to get home in the evening. But anyway, that's just a reminder to me, like, male friendships are important too, and they
do what you can to
harder.
Support.
And maybe that's just a cultural thing too, of like women share their hearts a little more quickly.
Yeah,
like it takes a lot for a guy to open up. Practical ways to meet with friends. I think we talked about this before. You could do like meet up and do a Bible study together or a book study together. You could have like a walking group, play dates together. I've heard of different people get together every month, and they all bring like a dish of like freezer food, and they make freezer food together, stuff like that. Like practical things. It could just be like once a month, like just fun out to eat, something like that. My friends, for a while, we were in a cycle. We were all turning 30, so every time there was the 30th birthday, we did something fun. It was kind of, now that's over with, so we have to invent new reasons to get together. But yeah, what about for you?
Everything you said. Go to a park. Our kids play. We chat. We try to have girls' nights where there's no kids with us, and I don't know why it's so fun to just go to Target and meander through the halls and like coach each other on what we should or shouldn't buy. And like I'm always telling them what outfits to buy for their little girls and helping them waste all their money on cute little girls' clothes, which they're hard sells, man. They like, no, she doesn't need them. I'm like, yes, she does. She needs these shoes. Anyway.
Pretty soon Aunt Jayna's just putting stuff in her own cart.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fun. Or we go to Main Street and try on clothes and tell, like, that looks good on you. That doesn't, Megan's really good at that. That does not look good on you. Like, just helping each other find outfits that.
Well, you're fun because you want, like, some people are like, you have to say everything looks good on them or they're like offended. Whereas for me, if I'm asking somebody, I want to know.
Oh, yeah, I want to know. And I usually agree with you. Like, it's pretty obvious usually because Anyway, what else do we do? Cookie bakes, gifts exchanges at Christmas.
Wreath making at Christmas. That's like a fun one.
Yeah.
You can do that with like all ages too.
Sometimes it's fun to go out as couples because I just feel like that's a whole different level of friendship. Like couple friends, it's just
so fun.
It's so fun.
It's so fun I always look at my husband differently when we're on like double dates versus just a single, like us on a date. Like I feel like me and Josh on a date is like serious time.
Yes.
And then me and Josh on a double date or trip, whatever, is so like different. Like it's more jokey or like, I don't know.
We should go on a double date again. Remember that one double date we went on to somewhere in Lidditz? Was it LBC? ABC. We went to, and we discussed starting the podcast, and we were like brainstorming and dreaming.
That was fun.
That was so fun. And we're like, we're going to do this regularly.
We should do that now again, now that this podcast is established. Like, I feel like we've done double dates and they always turn into business things about the podcast.
They always do.
But now that the podcast is humming along, we could just go have fun.
Yeah. But I think it's fun to talk about it too. Because we usually, like, I talked to Josh a little bit when I come
yeah.
and he helps us get set up. But like the four of us don't often talk about it together.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of fun.
I know. I like my friends' husbands. I hope that's a good thing to say. Like,
Yes.
they pick good guys.
Yeah,
Good
they
for
really
them.
did. It's always a good time.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, and I would consider their husbands my friends too. Like,
Yeah.
the thought of them, you know, getting sick or
Yeah.
dying or something awful like that is heartbreaking. So anyway, I don't know. I hope this discussion was helpful to you. Let us know what you have done with your friends that's super easy and no fuss and something that, you know,
Yeah, because we're
works in a
always looking
stage
for
of life.
ideas to
Exactly.
party.
Also, what do you do while you listen to podcasts? Don't forget to tell us down below. So thank you guys so much for being here.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.